Arc 3.0 Hunter in PvP, even with Blink, has not been convincing enough for me to switch away from Void or Stasis, that is, until now. Assassin's Cowl in PvP, yes, in PvP, in combination with Arc 3.0 is one of the strongest Arc PvP builds I've played with, and puts Hunters back on the map against those Juggernaut Titans and those teleporting melee Warlocks. This build right here is unreal, and it provides invisibility on kills, health regen on kills, huge melee range, potential to one-hit KO melee, jolting, blinding, and easy amplification. As you can already tell, all those things pair incredibly well with shotguns. This build is a CQC monster with a very high skill ceiling. It causes so much disruption and chaos up close that it actually makes 1v2, 1v3, and sometimes even 1v4 scenarios up close doable. This build really does make pellet shotguns feel lethal again. So today we'll be covering my Arc 3.0 build, my recommended stat distribution, and the armor and mods I'm using. Dim link for the build will be in my Discord, and the link for that will be in the description or comments below. Before we get into my Arc 3.0 build, it's important to understand what Assassin's Cowl does. Its exotic perk, Vanishing Execution, makes powered melee final blows grant invisibility and restore health and shields. Final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of said invisibility and the amount of health and shields restored. Guardians in the Crucible do count as more powerful targets than say a miner in PvE, so you'll end up getting a huge 11 seconds of invisibility with this, along with a substantial heal. Just with the exotic alone, there's some potential to cause some chaos up close, as the health regen and invisibility can cause some serious confusion. The CQC disruption, however, with Arc 3.0 in combination with this exotic just takes it to a whole new level. In my Arc 3.0 build, I'm using Gambler's Dodge for two reasons. The dodge when near enemies gives you your melee charge back, very important for the gameplay loop of the build, and then the dodge itself is much harder to track, and it covers more distance when shotgunning up close. Then I'm using Strafe Jump, and for my melee it's important to use Combination Blow here. This is because when you defeat a target with this melee, it recharges your dodge, so you can utilize your dodges and melees infinitely if you use them correctly. The melee also provides a small amount of health regen, which stacks with Assassin's Cowl, so I was practically getting all my health back with a melee kill. The melee also becomes more and more powerful with each defeat, so sometimes you can reach a point where you can one-hit KO Guardians, and with our aspects, this is actually easier to achieve than you think. Moving on to our aspects, at the center of this build is Lethal Current. Now when we dodge, we gain a buff called Lethal Current, which for 10 seconds gives you increased melee lunge and jolts the target when meleeing them. The increased melee lunge is key here, so to utilize this best, you want to activate this before an engagement, so you can shotgun melee combo from about 10 meters away. It's okay to use your dodge before an engagement, as once you get your shotgun melee kill, the melee will refund your dodge back, and then the gameplay loop can be sustained on and on. So after you kill someone, the second person will be jolted, you'll be invisible, and off their radar, you'll be able to dodge again, and make their tracking very difficult, and then if you melee them again while they're jolted, they'll be blinded and have their HUD taken away. You can already see how menacing this combination up close can be. Our second aspect here is Flow State, whereby defeating jolted targets makes us amplified. Amplification lets us activate Speed Booster, which when invisible after a kill lets you reposition very quickly and catch people off guard. The aspect also recharges your dodge faster when amplified, gives you more damage resist when dodging, and increases reload speed as well. For our fragment, we're using Spark of Feedback, whereby taking melee damage increases outgoing melee damage. This paired with Combination Blow and jolting means that the second person can often be killed with a single melee very quickly without getting many stacks of Combination Blow. Spark of Recharge, so that we can get our abilities back. Then Spark of Resistance, so we get some damage resist when fighting enemies up close, so we always come out on top. And then for my final fragment, I use Spark of Momentum, which I found quite useful when you kill an enemy. You run out of shotgun ammo and you don't have time to reload again. So you just slide over the ammo, the dead person dropped, and immediately dodge and shotgun the second person. If you think that's a bit too situational, then use Spark of Shock so that your grenade can also jolt and be even more lethal as well as your melee. Super wise, I'm using Arc Staff rather than Gathering Storm, which for me doesn't work well in PvP. Stat distribution wise, you want 100 mobility and 100 recovery as your highest priority. Although we get our dodge back through our melee, sometimes this isn't going to be perfectly executed. so you want to be able to get your dodge back up sooner if you mess up the gameplay loop. Don't mind me and my 98 in both stats here, I'm just short on a couple of Ascendant shards so that I can finally masterwork my Assassin's Cowl. Then you want as high strength as possible. Similar to the reason I said above, you won't be able to execute the gameplay loop perfectly all the time, so having a short cooldown on your combination blow will be very helpful. Then I would prioritize Discipline, Resilience, and Intellect in that order. Armor wise, nothing too fancy here. We're using Powerful Friends, Radiant Light to achieve our high stats, and then Quick Charge to give us 20 handling for our shotgun. And when we also get double kills with our shotgun, we can become charged with light and access a 20% damage buff from high energy fire, which does come into use from time to time. I'm then also using double utility kickstart mods on my cloak to minimize the dodge cooldown, so make sure your cloak is stasis. Finally, I have on the relevant targeting and dexterity mods, in this case for shotgunning. So there you have it guys, hands down the best ARC 3.0 PvP hunter build I've used so far. This is some of the most fun I've had with shotgunning since pellets were nerfed, and I'm not a shotgun main by any means. I can really see the skill ceiling with this build being very high, especially for those people that are already amazing at dodge shotgunning. If you liked what I talked about today, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny builds, both PvP and PvE. I'm Mr. On It, and that's it for today guys, peace out.